Hi everyone, and thank you for tuning in from many different parts of the world. Welcome back to those of you who have joined us in the previous sessions, and an even warmer welcome to those of you who are joining us for the first time. The topic of today's webinar is Plastic Revolution Shaping Tomorrow and Today, and it will allow us to delve deeply into an issue that has been harming our oceans for decades. We will talk about marine litter and how companies, together with NGOs, can help tackle this issue. Today, we will be joined by two speakers, Veronika Mikos from the Healthy Seas Foundation and Elvira Herrera from Hyundai. Veronika Mikos is an economist with over 2 decades of experience. She has been at the helm of the Healthy Seas Foundation since day one, leading the organization for the past decade. Under her guidance, Healthy Seas has emerged as a leading force in combating marine litter, while she was cultivating strategic partnerships with industry leaders and stakeholders with the final goal of driving impactful change and preserving our oceans for future generations. We are also joined by Elvira Herrera, who is a PR and corporate communications expert with a strong focus on CSR and CSV topics, leading these efforts as the project manager within Hyundai Motor Europe. Elvira is passionate about driving positive change through effective communication and integrating CSR into corporate communication strategies. Now, we are ready to start, so I'll turn it over to Veronika and I'll see you back later on in the webinar. Veronika, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for being here with us today.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to dive into ocean plastic and marine litter today. Even if you don't live by the sea, even if you don't like the sea for some reason, your life is affected by it and also your business. The goal of the webinar today is to look into it. How? The Earth has one big ocean. It's covering 70% of its surface and also providing 70% of the oxygen we breathe. I think already these two facts and figures itself are good enough reason to believe why we need them to stay clean, and why we depend on them. Although it covers such a big surface of our planet, it still remains a mystery. We don't know much about it. Even the 20% which we are able to see, and which is already enormous, even that is just literally the surface. We are scratching the surface with our knowledge. 80% is below, much of it is still unexplored. So there remains a lot to learn and study about it. To warm up a little bit for this webinar, we like to do a quick quiz with you. So if you like, please participate. What do you think? How many millions of plastic ends up in the oceans each year? You can type the answer in the chat. Option A, 20.4 million of tons. Option B, 1.7 million of tons. Option C, 0.8 millions of tons. Option D, 5.2 millions of tons. I give you some seconds to think about it. To be honest, for me, even the 0.8 sounds terrifying. Let's see what the correct answer is. 1.7 million of tons of plastic ends up in the oceans each year. This equals the weight of almost 7,730 planes per year. Now, before we look into global plastic usage and scenarios and what this amount of planes means to us in practice, I would like to say one thing which might sound weird to you. Plastic is not a bad thing. I believe the way humans treat plastic is bad. So it's a fantastic invention. It makes our life easy in many ways. You can find it in your car, in your kitchen. I mean, the tools, the machines we use, you can find it in your wardrobe. So it's there for a reason. It's essential. It's needed to some extent. But times are changing. When I was a small child, I remember the shopping bags, the plastic shopping bags coming to use. I remember my grandmother being very enthusiastic about them. She kept them, she washed them, she dried them, she folded them nicely into different piles. She kept certain plastic bags categorized, small ones, medium ones, big ones, in different plastic bags, and reused them over and over again till they eventually got broken. That's something we don't see in this society anymore. Nowadays, plastic is everywhere. Plastic bags are blown by the wind, floating in the sea. Hopefully, the recent developments with the single-use plastic directives and legislations will change this. But at this stage, it still remains a problem. So what can we do about it? When we look at the global plastic usage and scenarios in this overview, you can see that business as usual is the worst we can do. The three categories below it, collect and dispose, recycle, or reduce and substitute, is able to create a positive change to some extent, but not enough. When we look at the bottom, you see the green charts. The ultimate and best solution would be a system change. Now, ironically enough, if you look at the net costs, the system change is even the cheapest solution. So then the question is, why is it still not happening with the speed as it should be? And what can be the reason behind? Who can take active measures to mitigate its impact? So we can categorize it into 5 stakeholders who are playing the most crucial role in order to reshape the approach we have to plastics. First of all, the policymakers. So they can establish clear regulations, coordinate the stakeholders, they can promote recycled products, they have the means to push through legislations, what the society and businesses would demand, ideally. We have the recyclers, focusing on renewable energy, advanced polymer recycling, new technologies, quality assurance, and many other topics like that. Then we also have the plastic generators who can ensure appropriate source separation, policy compliance, use of bio-based plastics, just to give you some examples. Local bodies can help to engage in community campaigns, conduct material flow analysis, establish recycling programs, and also promote the demand for recycled plastics. And then last but not least, the manufacturers who can educate staff on waste disposal, ensure policy compliance, shift to biodegradable plastics, and offer sorting techniques, training, and all kinds of industrial developments. We also have the civil society. And why we put it in the middle? Because they consist of public itself and non-profit organizations who can closely interact and work together with all the players in the circle and influence stakeholders at every stage of the plastic regulation chain. Through education, through advocacy, through grassroots initiatives, also implementing recycling programs and promoting responsible consumer choices. About the stakeholders, they all have their own role in the system. And actually, one of my biggest life lessons is also connected to them. When I graduated from university and I started to work immediately in the field of nature conservation, I thought that non-profits are good and companies are bad, to keep it simple. I thought that non-profits are the ones saving the planet and companies are destroying it. Now, very soon, of course, I learned that it's not as simple as that. There are good and bad people, players in both sectors, so to speak. And what really makes the difference is the vision, the commitment, and the decision of the leader of certain organizations who can drive the change. With Healthy, we are very lucky to work with companies like Aquafil, Hyundai, and many others who do drive this change, who are visionaries and to enable and encourage nature conservation and marine protection. So now let's play another short quiz. I give the word back to Mario.
Sure, thanks Veronika. Now we would like to test our audience's knowledge about marine pollution. So we came up with a short quiz. Let me guide you through some simple rules of the game. So we prepared 4 questions about marine litter. For each of them, you will find 4 possible answers, A, B, C, or D, and you will have 2 minutes to find the right ones. When you're done, please type in the chat box the combination of the 4 letters in just one message. So not 4, just one message for 4 answers. The first, who will be the quickest to write the correct answers, will win a special prize, which is a workshop dedicated to your company about marine litter, which will be held by the LTC's foundation. Now, to spice up things a little bit, we will unveil the winner at the end of the webinar. So stay tuned and you will find out if you are the lucky one. Now, let me start a timer as soon as we move on to the next slide, and have fun and good luck. So let's go to the next slides with the questions. Thanks, Veronika. That's it for our quiz. So again, please remember that we will unveil the winner in some time. And now let's enjoy the rest of the webinar. So Veronika, over to you again.
Thank you, Mario. We will share the solutions and the winner in a few minutes. So marine litter and ghost nets. What do you think lasts longer? Love, marriages, or plastic in the seas and oceans? Well, unfortunately, the answer is simple, because we don't live for hundreds of years, and that's exactly the amount of time a fishing net, for example, can stay in the seas and oceans and doesn't biodegrade. We have several problems connected to marine litter. On the one hand, ghost nets, which are lost, abandoned, or otherwise discarded fishing nets, keep catching and killing marine life without human involvement. Next to that, we have the floating litter and general plastics, which keep degrading into microplastics. All this together is a problem, not only for the environment and the marine animals, but for all of us. For example, the maritime industry, navigational safety, beach quality, local communities, even the fishermen themselves. It happens in the Mediterranean many, many times that fishermen, during their active time while fishing, they catch floating ghost nets in their net. That's a lost fishing time for them, damage to the active nets. They have to sometimes cut the active nets. So even the industry itself is suffering from this pollution. Maritime traffic propeller entanglement is also a very important and serious case. This pollution can even kill people. I don't know if you have seen in the news 2 days ago, for example, that a yacht was smashed on the rocks after the ghost net got stuck in the propeller. I will try to paste here the article for you. In Baltimore, East Coast in the US 2 days ago. Luckily, no one died or got seriously injured this time, but the boat was seriously damaged, and it could end up even worse. So the point is that so many sectors are impacted by it, and also looking at tourism. And I don't mean the hotels and restaurants only. Even if you're a swimwear or a sportswear manufacturer, your income depends on the people who are spending their free time in a nice place, and whether they will be able to enjoy their free time in a nice quality environment depends on the cleanness of that environment. So it's a very interesting sector. with a huge supply chain, and the beach litter, floating marine litter is putting enormous high costs on local communities, local municipalities who from their own budget try to maintain the areas nice, not only for the locals, but also for the tourists. And what are these enormous costs? You can see on the right bottom corner of the slide, according to estimations, more than 60 billion euros internationally spent on cleanups only. The pollution risk to wildlife generally fall into three categories: physical, chemical, and biological harm. We say here wildlife, but we mean humans included in that. As you can see, the icon biological harm is showing a human being. Not only through physical, like entanglement or ingestion of plastic, but also chemical pollution and all the microorganisms which are connected to that plastics. If you eat fish, if you eat other sea animals, the pollutant in their body will accumulate in your own body as well. Annually, 640,000 tons of fishing gear ends up in the seas and oceans. According to UN FAO estimations, we can only guess what it means in terms of millions of animals being entangled and dying for no reason. Currently, 70% of fish populations are already overexploited. So you can imagine that those which remain, they have to face these kind of dangers. The sea is not a safe place for them to live. This is a World Press winner photo. A few years ago, the turtle has been rescued after that. We know that from reliable sources, but unfortunately not all animals are that lucky. Here you can see sharks entangled. This is a stingray from one of our cleanup in Croatia. This one was a lucky one. We were on time, just on time, to release him or her after half an hour of struggle, so could swim away happily. We always love these success stories. And while a fish or a crab gets entangled in a fishing net, attracts other animals, seals, dolphins, and then it's like a chain of death. They also keep getting entangled themselves. So how big is the problem? It's big. You can see the figures on the slides. And one of the biggest problem, in my opinion, is that we humans are selfish. We place our own interest above the interest of nature and animals in general. And this is a failure by design. This is not something we can change it, we can realize it, we can talk about it. And okay, let's be selfish for a moment. Even if we don't care about turtles and dolphins, and even if we do not mind if the seas are clean and the marine ecosystems are healthy because of that, even then, we will start to care about it the moment our own life depends on it. The moment the cleanness of the air we breathe, so our health depends on it, the moment the success of our business depends on it. So this webinar today is a great opportunity to highlight these connections. And with the Healthy Seas organization, we are here to mediate between the interest of nature and your business, between the interest of ecology and economy. So where we work and what we do. Currently, we are active in 22 countries in the world on 4 continents. You can just roughly see it on the map. And our activities are focusing on 3 main pillars: education, prevention, and cleanup actions. These are our activity results from 2023, where you can see that we have been 355 days active in the field from the 365, so almost non-stop, almost no holiday, no nothing. Of course, these numbers also include preparation time, office time, do not include. So this 355 days, we were technically doing either cleanups or school programs, and parallel with that, we did all the preparations work last year in 20 countries in 7 regions. Quickly highlighting the education efforts in 2023, we increased children's participation 4 times more compared to previous years. In total, we organized nearly 98 events. Virtual reality was one of the highlights. Both adults and children liked a lot. And we accelerated our presence in continents like US and Asia with our activities. Originally, we are based in Europe. That's where historically most of our activities and the biggest number of volunteers and our core team is located. Prevention is also a very important element because Healthy Seas has a two-way approach in order to reach our mission. Doing cleanups for the sake of cleanups is one thing, but mopping the floor while the tap is open is of course not a good strategy. So we are very proud with all those fishermen communities and industry cooperations which we have in order to establish net collection facilities in various harbors. The cleanups are still probably the most spectacular part of our work. Last year, with 550 volunteers from Ghost Diving, over 257 diving days, we've been active, covering cleanups from US till Asia, and formed various new strategic partnerships, for example, in Portugal and Malta. To compare what it means in the scope of 10 years, we collected 991 tons of fishing nets and other marine litter, which equals the weight of 6.5 blue whales or 225 orcas. You might say it's not that much compared to the size of the problem which we talked about, and you're right. We never said we can change the world alone. We hope to inspire others to follow, and we are very proud of many local initiatives in the last 10 years all over the world, which we managed to encourage, support, to replicate similar models, how Healthy Seas operates. This is not the end of the story. Here comes a next step in the journey. Where do all the fishing nets go? We are very proud of different partnerships. One of the first one and the main one still remains with ECONYL. Some of the nylon fishing nets collected end of life by the fishermen in harbors and with divers is sent to ECONYL, entering the ECONYL regeneration system. Other type of fishing nets, such as HDPE, PP, PE, are reused, upcycled by BraceNet into various items, accessories, jewelries. Other type of material we collect is either directly reused by fishermen, or we leave it with local recycling companies, or the last possible option is waste to energy, which is technically incineration, according to the EU legislation that is also in the recycling category. So either way, it's not ending up in landfill and it's not staying in the environment, which is our ultimate goal. This is to indicate that 1 ton of nylon waste, including nets, can provide enough yarn for 23,000 pairs of socks or 900 square meters of carpet. So if you look back the slide with the blue whale and the orcas, you can see that that's many pairs of socks and many square meters of carpet tiles at the end. This is to highlight some of the partners we work with. Carvico, the fabric manufacturer, is supplying many smaller, bigger brands, covering areas. Carpet manufacturers we work with, Karoon, making sunglasses from the pellets, and Arena, BraceNet are all very important partners for us.
Veronika, sorry to interrupt you. We have received an interesting question in private, so I will ask it to you. Someone is asking, what are the long-term objectives of Healthy Seas?
We hope to engage with companies for strategic partnerships, finding recycling solutions for other type of plastics as well. Like I mentioned, for the fishing nets, we already have several destinations. When we go for cleanups, of course, we find often other type of waste as well, car tires, ropes, similar items, not in big quantities, but we do find these. So we would be really happy if we could engage strategically with those companies who can take these kind of, let's say, mixed materials instead of working scattered with local recycling companies. Because then we could also follow the destination where those materials go and who is going to use it for what. When we leave it at local recycling companies, we know that it stays in good hands. We just don't know who is going to use it and for what afterwards. So this would be one of our long-term goal, I would say mid-long-term goal. And also about expanding the geographical scope of our activities. As a matter of fact, we get requests more than we can answer to. It comes down to funding, capacity, staff time from our side, not a matter of will. So the more companies support us and partner with us, the more we can do.
That's great. That's great to hear how you want to enhance the impact you have on this. Thank you very much, Veronika.
Thank you, Mario. And please keep sending questions in the meantime. I'm happy to answer them during the presentation as well. How we work with our partners. Currently, we collaborate with more than 150 partners through a various range of initiatives. Prevention, education, cleanups, research and innovation, these are the big categories. Let's go quickly into detail. With the prevention project, we have initiated with different stakeholders, having collection points in the harbors and highlighting the hazards of ghost fishing nets and being able to create content for communications in a really nice, innovative, creative way. Events and activities with adults, broadening the scope of activities is in progress, and we can offer fairs, open days, sales meeting, family days with presentations, workshops, roundtable discussions. Internal ambassadors and employee engagement. This is also becoming more and more popular with many companies, especially the bigger ones. We have different ways to provide engagement for colleagues through cleanup activities, beach cleanup, park cleanup, ambassador projects with selected employees, even online, if that's more convenient and companies do not want to do it physically, for example, because they have offices scattered all around the world. Educational with kids. Typically, we work with children between 6 and 18 years old, both indoors and outdoors. Presentations, interactive games, virtual reality experience. Often our company partners are involved in these as well, bringing display materials for showcase. Diving missions, like I said, these remain one of the most popular ones, where we also offer the opportunity not only for press in general, but also for tailor-made content creations to partners, sponsors who like to make something exclusive out of a special cleanup. Shore cleanups as well, like I mentioned, in beaches, parks, riversides. So we are very open and flexible to organize activities even in the middle of a big city. We don't necessarily have to be along the beach, because 80% of marine litter is coming from land, and we can very nicely explain to children or employees of your company how it is important to keep your own living environment clean, and how it can end up in the seas and oceans sooner or later through a tiny stream which goes into a river and later on in the seas and oceans. Research and education, we already launched a project about it 2 years ago, and we hope to accelerate it more with our own vessel Mako, which was a donation from DWS, currently used mainly for survey and cleanup operations. We hope to provide it as a platform for research, science, and education activities on board in the near future. So to close down my part, what are the recommendations we can give practically to companies to get more engaged about the topic. First of all, think about possible connections between your company and the oceans and where you can have an impact. It can be anything from water usage and possible reduction, or wastewater treatment. Are there things you can improve? What about the reduction of single-use plastic packaging? Things like that. Ask yourself if you can use marine litter as a source for new products, something you already experienced or you haven't thought about it yet. There are many innovations nowadays, from 3D printing until simple manufacturing, so various possibilities. Make sure to actively include your employees in your sustainability strategy. Incorporate circular economy in your design steps. Design with the end in mind. And for us, one of the most important, where we can help you a lot, is engage in impact-making cooperations and activities. And for example, the Healthy Seas Hyundai cooperation is a very good example of it, which will be showcased in a moment. You are not on your own in this world, and you can think of a lot of things internally, what you can improve with your company, but you can also do it with the help of others. Having a cooperation between a nonprofit and a company, in case of Hyundai and Healthy Seas, can also bring aspirations, efforts to a higher level together, which we would not be able to do alone. So I would like to give the word to Elvira Herrera, corporate communication expert from Hyundai Europe, to tell you more about it.
Thank you, Veronika, for introducing me. And I'm also very happy to be here with her today, because from the side of Hyundai, I'm very excited that we have this partnership with Healthy Seas. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more about how automaker and a big company like us ends up in this kind of partnership, which you would not think about when you think of cars. So I wanted to start from, let's say, the beginning of it. We have what we call the CSV approach, our shared value, corporate shared value, or creating shared value approach at Hyundai. And we created a strategy that is based on different pillars. So we thought, which are the things that are more important for us? What things can we do to create this shared value from our company? And how can we make the world a little bit better? Of course, there's a lot of questions about how can a car maker make the world better if cars are one of the main reasons or big reason for pollution. But actually, we also want to make everything that we can. We are on a path to electrification, but we can do more things. And one of those are collaborating with partners like Healthy Seas and trying to put everything that we can into improving. So we created this strategy before our partnership, where we have different pillars and different possibilities for us to join activities to make the world a little bit better. And as you can see, we divided them on Earth, mobility, and hope. I will not go through analyzing the full strategy, but we found 4 pillars that for us were very important. And 2 of them, the ones under Earth, they really match with what Healthy Seas is doing, the environmental protection and the circular economy. So this is how we started, or how we decided that we wanted to have a partnership with Healthy Seas. We found them and we started already in 2021. So this is the 4th year that we start the partnership together. And maybe we move forward with the slides. Yeah, we can see also all the things that we have done in these years. So we've carried out really a lot of different projects. It has been a great journey together, and I hope it will be for many more years. And we have focused mainly on this kind of 4 kind of activities that we do. So we have cleanups, which is the most visible part that we have in the partnership, of course. But then we have also really big activities on the field of education. And here we have the special case of engaging also the dealers that sell the cars in different countries. So we have a very broad reach with education projects. And we have also involved our employees and their families in different internal activities. You can also see in the slide some numbers of the different activities that we have carried out in the past years and how many people have been involved, which is a really, really big number of employees, school children, local communities that have had an impact with these activities. So the first thing, or the first part of this, is the cleanups, of course. Our partnership started in 2021, where we did a huge cleanup in ghost farms in Ithaca together with Healthy Seas. This was an amazing project. They carried out amazing work. You can see also the before and the after of how the sea looked like when Healthy Seas found this area and how they managed to clean it in such a short time. And it was an amazing project. It had really big impact, not only what you can see in the waters, but also on the local communities, on the people who were around and who were really impressed, first of all, that someone was really tackling this issue, and then also seeing how everything could change through the hard work of people who were just dedicated to do it. So there was collaboration not only with the people on site, but with the volunteer divers, with NGOs, with businesses, and with community activities. The Ithaca one is the first one and also one of the most spectacular images that we can show. But we have done a lot of different cleanups together with Healthy Seas and expanded not only in Europe, but also to the headquarters of our company in South Korea. And now, end of last year, we already expanded also to the US together. So this is a very big part, but it's not the only one. The second part that we wanted to do together is we don't only want to work together on a cleanup where our part is more sponsoring the cleanup and Healthy Seas is, of course, doing the on-site work. We also wanted to integrate our partnership into our own products to show that our commitment is not only to cleaning the environment, is to a circular economy, and we want to lead with our own example. And how we did that is trying to find what parts of our car could be made of the discarded elements that are found through the cleanup. This might look easy. It's really not easy because making a car is very difficult and it has to go through millions of different homologation processes and checkups. But we found that we could make the floor mats of our cars, so the carpet parts, we could make them of ECONYL. So this was a way of finding a link between our partnership and our products. And right now, the floor mats of two of our electric models, Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6, in Europe are made of ECONYL. This is for us a really important step, and we wish that we could do more. So we are researching constantly to put more elements into our cars, and hopefully something will come soon. And the third part is the educational activities that we have. So we have done internal, like the Hyundai Family Days, and external educational activities with different schools all around Europe. We have a lot of activities in our European countries and recently also in the US. And we're really proud that we can bring together local communities, children, also the Hyundai communities, the children of our employees, the dealerships. So these events are a very good opportunity to teach the future generations and also the local communities about what we are doing together. And for us, it's very important that we can use our connections and we can use the people we know and the very broad communities that we can reach through Hyundai to expand the message from Healthy Seas. So I think it's a very brief summary of 4 years or over 3 years, and this is the fourth of a partnership, but we are really proud. And for other companies who might be considering having this kind of partnerships, the feedback from our side is really, really good. It works really good to expand the message, and we look forward to working together with Veronika and her team for a long time.
Thank you, Elvira, and thank you, Veronika, for sharing your insights into how you're actually committed to make a difference in this sense and trying to play your part about marine litter. So really, thank you very much. It was an interesting conversation. Now, let me remind to the participants that if you want, you can start to type in your questions in the chat box so that then we can ask them to our speakers. But before we move on with the Q&A session, now let's take a moment to reveal the winner of the quiz, who again will have access to a dedicated workshop held by the Healthy Seas Foundation for their company or organization. So, drum roll. Let's see who was the first person to type in the correct answers. Are we ready? So the winner of the Healthy Seas Foundation workshop is Isabel. So Isabel, congratulations. The correct answer combination was CAAB. You and your organization won this interesting workshop, and we will reach out to you soon by email to share all the necessary details to make the workshop happen. So thank you again, and congratulations, Isabel. Now, let's see if we have some questions from the audience. Okay, here we have one. I see Healthy Seas in it, so I guess the question is for Veronika. How can our organization practically engage with Healthy Seas? What are the steps we need to follow? How do we select the project to work on? For example, in case of cleanup activities, how do we choose the location, the people involved, etc.? So I guess it's a question about the practical steps organizations should take to collaborate with Healthy Seas. Thank you for the question, and Veronika, please go ahead.
Many questions all together. Yes. So how do we select the projects to work on? Indeed, we get a lot of requests from all over the world. We try to prioritize based on the ecological importance of the areas and where do we have local contacts. I cannot complain. We are warmly welcomed by local communities all the time. We do activities of pretty much any type. So when you join forces with us to save marine life, you can different ways to get things in return, boost your communications by using the Healthy Seas logo, name, storyline, photos, videos, content, infographics. You can create unique exclusive marketing materials while being part of a project, and also an endorsement of your company and products with interviews, exhibitions, or participating in different kind of events. So our team is very flexible, creative, and looking forward to work out tailor-made cooperations if there is interest.
Great, thank you very much again for the question and also for the answer. And actually, I'm interested, Elvira, maybe you want to share your internal perspective on this, maybe about the roadmap you followed for your projects with Healthy Seas?
Yes, of course. So for us, actually, the most important thing is normally the feedback that we get from Healthy Seas, because they are the experts. So for any activity that we select together, or for the plan that we do every year, we sit together many times. We look at different feedback from Healthy Seas, and from our side then is, of course, the locations where we have subsidiaries of Hyundai. So we try to make it work with local communities, but also with the people that we know. So places where we have a dealership, or places where we have a strong team on site that can support. This is also one of our main priorities. But I would say that it's together with Veronika, and we choose our roadmap. Or, for example, when we do educational activity, we contact the country, the colleagues from that country, and then together with Veronika's team, we look for a good location, for a good place where we could do an activity, good contacts for schools and so on.
Thank you, Elvira. We have another question from Linda. I guess it's for Veronika. Are you happy to work in the United Kingdom?
We are, and we do so already for several years. We have a diving team there, and we also run various school programs from Cornwall till London, Newcastle in the past years, and looking forward to do more, perhaps together with you, Linda. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Veronika, and thank you, Linda, for the question. So the floor is still open for some more questions if the audience has some. We still have some more minutes left, so let me wait a bit. Let's see if someone else. Okay, we have another one from Samara. Thank you, Samara. Veronika, would you say ghost nets are more or less dangerous from floating plastic? Pretty technical one.
I would say yes, because of the complexity of the issue they can cause. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, not only for marine life getting entangled, things like that, but also for the maritime industry and everybody. I mean, I haven't seen a boat yet to crash rocks because of a plastic bottle floating. And also the type of beach cleanups organized all around the world, it's much easier to collect floating plastic. Ghost nets are specifically are on certain locations, shipwrecks, reefs. We have to go targeted. It takes much more effort and work to take those nets out than the floating plastic, I believe, which is more dangerous, I would say, ghost nets, because we know more about that as well. But it doesn't mean that one is more important than the other. None of the two should exist as a first place in the environment.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer. And I see that Linda has another question. This is more like future oriented, I think. Do you have any new technologies to deal with the microplastics?
Is it a question to me? I guess.
I guess so.
Okay. Technology, no. Ways, probably, including awareness raising. I mean, we are a non-profit organization. We are developing technologies in terms of finding marine litter. We use drones, we use divers, we use underwater robots. So at this stage, we focus on macroplastics because they are so big and so many that's our first priority. What we do see is that this plastic being in the sea for so many years degrades. So our goal is to take it out as fast as possible. So microplastics, collecting from the seafloor or floating microplastics, the best solutions I have seen is sailing boats, expeditions, going and basically manually with the nets, small nets from the surface, collecting. A bit of a small scale solution compared to what the ocean cleanup is doing in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. That can be done locally, but again, only in terms of floating plastics. I haven't seen or known any technology collecting microplastics, for example, from the seabed, but maybe it is coming.
Thank you, Veronika, and thank you, Linda. Actually, we have one more question. We have more than one question. So we have Evangelos, who's asking, regarding the panel discussion going to take place from the 15th to the 17th next week in Greece, can anyone attend? So this is a question related to a specific event.
Yes, next week our ocean conference is taking place in Greece, and we are there present with a side event on the 15th, 10 o'clock in the morning. So all the participants who already registered to the conference have access to that. Those who do not hold a valid registration yet, as far as I know, the deadline was yesterday. By the end of yesterday, we had to send. if you're interested, Evangelos, please send me an email, and maybe we can try within today to contact the organizers to get you a free pass for that day to join if you don't have a valid entry pass yet to the conference. Thank you for your interest.
Great. Thank you, Veronika, for the explanation. Now we have one last question. We are almost running out of time. Federico is asking if companies that actually sells products in the market should be held responsible for littering. And then he also has an input related to maybe a regulation that forced to reduce packaging. So what's your view on this?
Indeed, there are different mechanisms in place, and this is where the role of different stakeholders comes in. Extended producers' responsibility, product design with the end in mind. There are ways, whether a company itself can be held responsible if you find a plastic bottle from a certain drink brand on the beach, and then that company will get the bill after every single plastic bottle. I would love that. I don't know if it is possible. It's a matter of legislation. The policymakers have to work very hard on that. I also don't know if this is the future, or if the society, the communities can demand they elected politicians to do certain measures. So to answer your question, theoretically, it could be. Practically, I'm not in charge or in a position to put on a scale the likelihood of this suggestion.
Thank you for your view on this, Veronika, and thank you again for all the questions. We are now at the end of the webinar, so let me thank once again our speakers and also all of you for your time and participation. We hope you find our conversation interesting, and if you did, please remember that you can still find out more about these topics on the ECONYL branded podcast called The Future is Circular. Actually, in a couple of weeks, we'll be releasing 2 new episodes. In the first one, we will be honored to talk with Tiziano Battistini, who's the Innovation Research and Development Coordinator for Aquafil, who together with other professionals and scientists has developed a new reliable method to classify microplastics in order to measure them in a unified way. So this is also related to something we have just seen with one of the questions. And then the second episode, which is about to be released, will feature Ludovica Gualtieri, who's a Health Disease Foundation volunteer who founded a fashion brand called Ludovica Gualtieri Milano, who aims at integrating sustainability principles with the Made in Italy style. So don't miss them out. We were thrilled to have these conversations, and we hope they will offer you some more insights and inputs about how to build a more circular future. Then please remember also to stay tuned and follow our newsletters, because it's through it that we will announce when the 2 episodes will be available. Now, thank you again for your engagement and your time. We look forward to seeing you in our future webinars. So thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.